My best friend stole everything from me. Not some of it, everything. My savings, my business, my girlfriend, my parents' retirement money, my dignity, and he did it slowly, carefully, over 3 years, while looking me in the eye every single day and calling me his brother. My name is Ryan. I am 27 years old. I grew up in Columbus, Ohio. I went to Ohio State. I had big dreams, and one person I trusted completely to chase them with me, and I am going to tell you exactly how that person dismantled my entire life and what happened after. Jake and I met freshman year of college, move-in day. I was struggling with a box in the hallway, and he just appeared, grabbed one end without being asked, and carried it all the way to my room. He didn't want anything for it. He just shrugged and said, "That's what neighbors do." He was in the room directly next to mine. For 4 years, we were completely inseparable. Same classes, same friend group, same terrible dining hall food every morning. When my grandfather passed away junior year and I fell apart for a few weeks, Jake was the one who sat with me, didn't try to fix anything, didn't say the wrong thing, just showed up. I thought that meant he was one of the good ones. I thought showing up was the whole measure of a person. I was wrong. After graduation, we both moved to Chicago. Jake had always been the ideas guy. I had always been the one who actually executed things. We complemented each other, or so I believed. We talked for months about starting something together and eventually landed on a small freight brokerage, connecting shippers with carriers, taking a commission. Unglamorous, competitive, but a real industry with real margins if you worked it right. I put in every dollar I had saved since sophomore year, $43,000. And my parents who had worked their entire lives and were finally thinking about retirement, they gave me $60,000 more. My mother sat across from me at the kitchen table and slid a check toward me and said, "We believe in you. This is yours. Just promise us you'll be careful." I promised her. I still think about that moment more than any other. Jake said he had the client relationships. He had worked a logistics internship 2 summers in a row and claimed he had contacts ready to bring over the moment we launched. I believed him completely. He was Jake. He was the person who carried my box on Marvin Day. The person who sat with me when my grandfather died. We registered the business in January. By March, something felt off. Jake was showing up late, missing calls, giving me explanations that were just slightly too detailed to be comfortable. I noticed, but I filed it away. Because it was Jake. Because I trusted him. Because I told myself that starting a business is stressful, and everyone handles stress differently. I gave him the benefit of the doubt every single time, and every single time was a mistake.
In April, I logged into our business account to pay a vendor invoice. I sat there at my laptop for a long time, not fully processing what I was looking at. The account balance was almost nothing. I went back through the transaction history line by line. Over 4 months, money had been moving out in amounts small enough not to immediately trigger alarm. $2,000 here, $3,500 there. Occasional larger withdrawals with descriptions that meant nothing. Vendor names I did not recognize. Service descriptions that matched nothing in our actual operations. I called Jake immediately. It rang 4 times and went to voicemail. I called again. Voicemail. I drove to his apartment. His car was gone. I knocked anyway. Nothing. I sat in my car outside his building for 40 minutes, trying to figure out what I was actually looking at. I think somewhere in those 40 minutes I already knew. The full picture took about 2 weeks to come together. Each piece of it was worse than the last. Jake had been systematically withdrawing from our account since the 2nd month of operation. The client relationships he had promised did not exist. The contacts he claimed to have. I reached out to every single one. Half of them had never heard of him. The other half remembered him vaguely from his internship, but had no active relationship and had never been approached about our business. The contracts he had shown me in those early months, I had a lawyer look at them. 2 of them were fabricated entirely. He had made up the company names and forged the signatures. He had never intended to build anything. He had intended to take what I put in and disappear. And then I found out about Melissa. Melissa had been my girlfriend for 2 years. She was the kind of person who made hard things feel manageable, steady, warm. The kind of person you start quietly building a future around without even realizing you are doing it. I found out from a mutual friend, not from her, that she and Jake had been in contact for months. Regular contact, the kind that does not happen between 2 people who are simply friends of the same person. When I asked her directly, she did not lie to me. I will give her that. She just said, "Ryan, I don't know what you want me to say." I did not know either, so I said nothing. I walked out of her apartment and I sat in my car and I felt something I had never felt before. Not anger, not sadness. Something quieter and much heavier than either of those things. I had lost the business. I had lost $103,000, mine and my parents combined. I had lost my girlfriend, and I had lost the person I had considered my closest friend for 6 years. All of it, Gone, in the same month. I'm not going to tell you I handled it well. I did not. There were weeks in Chicago where I did not leave my apartment for days at a time. I stopped returning calls. I stopped eating properly. I lay on my couch and watched the ceiling and replayed every conversation I'd ever had with Jake, looking for the moments I should have seen it, the signs I missed, the things that should have been obvious. There were plenty of them in hindsight. There always are. I called my mother once during that period and completely fell apart on the phone. She stayed on the line for 2 hours. She did not try to fix anything. She just stayed. The same thing Jake had done for me years ago when my grandfather died, except she meant it. I moved back to Columbus 3 months later, not dramatically, not as a defeat, or at least I tried not to frame it that way. I moved back because I needed to be near people who actually knew me, people who did not require explanation. I took a job at a logistics company, full-time, salaried, nothing glamorous, and I started paying my parents back. $2,000 a month every month without missing one. My father told me I did not have to do that. I told him I did. It took me 2.5 years to pay back every dollar. The morning I made the last payment, I drove to my parents' house, sat down at the same kitchen table where my mother had slid that check across to me, and I told them it was done. My mother started crying. I did too. I started a new business in year 3. Smaller. Just me. No partners, no shared accounts, no one whose word I was taking on faith for anything material. It grew slowly, then steadily. It is doing well now. I do not say that to wrap this up neatly. I say it because 2 years after losing everything, I was genuinely not sure I would ever feel like myself again. And I want anyone in that place to know that the uncertainty does not last forever. Jake reached out once, about 3 years after everything. A short message. He said he was sorry. He said he had made a terrible mistake and he thought about it all the time. I read it. I set my phone face down on the table. And I never replied. Not out of cruelty. Not because I was still angry. I had stopped being angry a long time before that message arrived. I did not reply because there was nothing left in me that needed to engage with that chapter anymore. It was closed. It had been closed for a long time. Some doors close, and the correct thing to do is simply leave them that way. My silence was the only answer that made sense, and the life I had rebuilt without him was the only revenge I ever needed. If you are listening to this and something in it feels familiar, the betrayal, the loss, the period where you genuinely cannot see the floor beneath you, I want to say this clearly. The people who do this to you are counting on you to collapse permanently. They expect the damage to be the end of the story.
It does not have to be. I lost everything at 23 and I am still here, still building, still learning, slowly. What it actually means to trust carefully and build patiently and protect yourself without closing yourself off entirely. That last part I am still working on. But I am working on it, and that, I have come to understand, is the whole point.